Hello, everyone. I'm here once again to explain on updated QC quantity take-off template. A lot of things that have changed on previous template, of which I need to explain for every one of us for better understanding. So first of all, I will start with a strip apart foundation on this QC quantity take-off template. So if you want to use QC quantity take-off template, most of the template used to be by the right side of this screen. So starting with substructure, superstructure, staircase. So I'm working on pile foundations is yet to be completed. But for the purpose of this lecture, the purpose of this lecture is to explain on some changes in our KC content take-off template so that we be able to know which one has been adjusted. So I'll start with strip apart foundation. First of all, this is our strip apart foundation. So what's the depth of our foundation? So we have 750. So starting from natural ground level. So if you deduct 150 topsoil from this 750, we are left with 600 mm. So our 600 mm plus 50, we have 650. That's the depth of our strip foundation. What of pad? So total depth of a pad is 1.5 meters starting from natural ground level. So 1.5 minus 150 minus 0.15, we are left with 1.35. So 1.35 plus 0.1, that is our blinding. So we are left with 1.45. So without wasting much of our time, I will start with strip apart foundation. So I will click on this excavation. Excavation has a lot of sub items. If I click on this plus, to display all the sub items under this excavation. So under this excavation, we have surface to support, which is network support. We have backfilling, we have level and compact, we have blinding to trenches, we have concrete and foundation. All these sub items are under excavation. Whenever I want to take off for this, we will just click on this plus sign in front of this excavation. So it's going to display all the sub items under this excavation. So let me click on this excavation. So it requires me to scale, it asks me to scale this drawing. So I will click on yes. So having clicked on yes, I will pick any of these dimensions on this plan to form my basis of my measurement. So I will pick 4.13. 4.13. I will click OK, and I will scale it like this. So let me cross-check this scale whether it's correct by clicking on this dimension. So let me try to cross-check by using this dimension. So this 3.3 is correct. So I will drop the dimension tool and click on this trench again. So we are going to take off for trench excavation. I will rename this to trench excavation. Trench excavation. So the width of our trench, you all know that the size of our ground beam, the size of our trench is 230 by 230 by if we allow the width of our, so the width of our trench excavation is 0.68, and as we calculated earlier, the depth of our trench excavation is 0.65. So having inputted all these parameters, I will click on OK and be tracing on all this my strip. This strip one by one to take off. So having considered all this, my trenches, the trenches. So I will click on this digital record to drop the tool, or alternatively, you can click in front of this Quantities Take-off to drop the tool by clicking on this that's dropped the tool. So if you want to check all the quantities we've taken off for, so this is the total quantities of our trench excavation, which is 25 cubic meters. So what about these sub items under trench excavation? So if you want to see these other items under this trench excavation. So you click on this tick of summary here. After this page is bookmarks. So you click on this tick of summary to see sub items under this trench excavation. So I will click on this tick of summary. So these are the sub items under this trench excavation, which has been calculated for automatically, except this concrete foundation does not be given. That one has not been given. So what's the width of a concrete foundation? So if you want to, do all this for concrete foundation, so you click on this. They'll click on it and include the trench, the thickness of the concrete foundation, which is 0.3, and click OK. So the quantities have been generated. So having done this, so the next item to consider is block wall in foundation. So a block wall in foundation. So if you look at the plan, so the total height of a block wall in foundation, you can get it from here. So we say 750 minus 300, so 450. So the total height of our block wall in foundation is 450. So it's 450. So I'll click once again on this block wall. This is the block wall. So I will click on it. Say 225 men block wall in foundation. So what's the width of our block in foundation? Is 0.23, and the depth as we calculated for is 0.45. So I click OK. So now our block wall will start from here externally. Start from here, goes like this. So since we've considered all our block wall in foundation, so I click on this and drop the two. So the quantities have been generated to be 9 square meters. So having done all of this, so our next item, according to this Quantities Take-off Template, so it's imported sand filling. It's imported sand filling. So what's the thickness of our imported sand filling? The thickness is not given. Okay, they use hardcore, 300 mm thick hardcore. So if you click on this positive sign, so it's going to display all the sub items under this imported sand filling. So under this imported sand filling, we have level and compact to bed, hardcore filling, BPM, BRC. So since imported sand filling is not given, but imported sand filling is the mother of all the sub items, all the other items under this. So if I don't take up for this imported sand filling, I'm not going to get my quantities for hardcore filling. So I'll click on this imported sand filling. Click on this imported sand filling. So I will name, since we are not given imported sand fillings, I will click on, I will name hardcore filling. So the thickness is 0.3 there. So I will click OK. So our filling is going to be in of this. So having considered all this, I will drop the two. So as you can see, all our quantities has been generated. You can only view all these sub items while on take-off summary. If I'm on pages and bookmarks by clicking it, I won't be able to see all the sub items. But if I want to see all the sub items, I'll just click on this take-off summary to display all the sub items here. So this hardcore filling, so since we've taken off for hardcore filling, so we just delete this hardcore filling. It's not needed again. So we delete it like this. So all other quantities have been generated. So the next item to look at is The next item to look at is a concrete slab. Concrete slab. So what the thickness of a slab is 150 mm mass concrete slab. So I'll click on this and say 150 mm mass concrete ground slab. So the thickness is 0.15. So I click OK. So our slab starts from external piece to our trenches here like this. So we drop this. So if I want to fill all the sub items under this concrete slab, I will click on this tick option. So all other quantities has been generated. As we can see under concrete ground slab, we have two formworks. So I designed it in such a way that there are some cases whereby our ground slab, our thickness of our ground slab is 200 or more than 150. And whenever it is like that, it's going to be in meters square. But if it is 150, it's going to be in meters. So the first option is if the thickness of a slab is less than, it's less than 200, should be 200. So this one is applicable to thickness of slab that is not more than 150. So it's measured in meters. So the second one is applicable to if the thickness of a slab is more than 150. So let me rename this. This one should be 200. It is less than 200. So the side of the slab is less than 200 mm. So it's going to be 45.4 meters. So if you can be imagining where are the units of measurement. So if you want to see all the units of measurement, and you can kindly click on this estimating. So everything is going to display. Go to see everything here. You can easily export it to Excel by clicking on this export to Excel. All your quantities will be exported to Excel. So as I was saying, this one is in meters because the thickness of a slab is equal to 150, not more than 150. The second option is applicable when thickness of a slab is 200. That is, if maybe you are taking up for a drawing, man, and your thickness of your slab is 150. So you can't really delete this second option because it's not applicable for you. But if you are taking off and the thickness of your slab is 200 or above, it's 200 or above. So that means the first option is not applicable to you. You have to delete it and leave this one to be in square meter. So I'll go back to home and continue my measurements. So having done this, so reinforcement to concrete slab, As regards to reinforcement to concrete slab, there's no shortcut to this ribbon foundation, no need for reinforcement. So the next item is concrete columns. So there's two types of columns. It could be a rectangular or square or circular. So if your column is rectangular or square, you can click on this first option. But if your concrete column is circular, you click on this second option. So let's go to a column details. So I don't want to see all this color. I will off all this color by clicking on this bulb so that I'll be able to measure the other item. So first of all, before you go there, so you can calculate total number of column. Okay, let me go to column details where we have column. So these are column. So I will only consider first one. So I'll be working on first one. So our column on ground floor. So I will click on this rectangular option. I will click on it like this. So it asks me to scale this page because this page is yet to be scaled. So I will click yes and look for any dimension of this point. So I can choose 1.2, 2.7, 0.45. Let me consider this 2.7 to form my basis of measurements. 2.70. I'll click OK. This dimension starts from where? So it has been scaled. So now, concrete columns and ground floor. So you have to be specific, whichever floor you're working on. So I'm working on ground floor. You have to be specific in your description so that you not take ground floor quantities or other floor quantities. So number of columns, let me assume there are 10. So what's the thickness of a column? Is 0.23 by 0.23. 0.23 by 0.23. So having inputted all these variables, I'll click OK and take my measurements, the height of column like this, and drop the tool. So the quantities has been generated automatically to the 1.4 cubic meter. So what about the sub items for the under this concrete column? What about a sub items under this concrete column? So if I want to see sub items, I'll click on this take-off summary. So this is my column in ground floor. So reinforcement, what of reinforcement to column? So what of reinforcement to column? We look critical. This is the structure. This is the structure. So we have 4 Y16. They use 4 number Y16 for column, and for a ring, they use Y8. They use Y8 to be our ring. R8. So they use Y8. So I will click on this take-off summary to see sub items under this concrete column in ground floor. So I will double click on this reinforcement to column. So it will display this and change the name to Y16 to ground floor columns. So the diameter of our iron is 16. What's the weight of our Y16 is 1.577. So number of column, let me assume to be 10 of this type. So number of straight bar, there are 4 number. 4. Do we have bend? No bend. So projection, there's going to be projection. The projection from ground floor to first floor. Let me assume the projection is 0.40. So having inputted all this, I'll click OK. So my quantities in KD has been generated. So what of link? I will double click on this again and change the distribution to be Y8 to ground floor column. So the number of column is assumed to be a number. So diameter is 8. So the diameter is 8. So the diameter is 8. Okay. So what's the bar width of our Y8? Is 0.394. Click enter. So what's the spacing? The spacing is 175. It's 0.175. So number of side B, we have two sides, one side and the other side. So number of side B, we have 2, 1, 2. Sorry, 1, 2, 2. Number of side A, 1, 2. We have 2. Side B, 0.23. 0.52, side A 0.53. So our book, let's assume to be 0.15 over the 0.25. So number of side over cover. So we have in two sides and we click OK. So quantities for range has been generated as well. Out of forward to columns, I will double click on this and we name it to be from work to size of one floor column. So I just need a number during my homework. Click on it. We have a number. Click OK. So all details for columns have been generated as well. So other items to be considered is excavation to our concrete base. So I will go back to page bookmarks. Excavation to our column basis. So let me look at for the details of our column basis. Details for our column basis. Details. So these are column basis. As I said earlier, the total depth of our column basis, according to our measurement earlier on, this is the depth 1.5. So we are going to drop to 150 from natural ground level and add thickness of our blinding. So the total depth of our concrete base is 1.45. It's 1.45. 1.45. So we go back to the details. So we only consider only this type. So I will click on this excavation column for concrete column basis. So this is the excavation. I will click directly in front of this. So it's the pit excavation to column base. Let me name this type 1, because we have different sizes of this column base. So I name this one to be type 1. So what's the depth of our trench? So as we calculated is 1.45. So number of column base, let's assume this column base type 1, there are 7 in numbers. So you have one side to be 1.5. So one side is 1.5, and the other side is also 1.5. 1.5. So I click OK and just drop the click on it and drop your tool. So all of the quantities for this excavation to each excavation has been generated to be 22.8 cubic meter. So if I want to see sub-items, the sub-items for this, I will click on take-off summary. Click on take-off summary. As you can see, so pit excavation, this is the quantities, what of concrete to column basis. So the quantities for all the items has not been generated. So I will double click on this concrete column base and rename it. Don't forget to be renaming your work so that you not cause confusion. Concrete in column base type 1. So what is the thickness of our base? Is 400. So click on 0.40 and click OK. We are done with that. So blinding, we all know that the thickness of our blinding is 100 mm. So double click on it and rename this blinding to column base type 1. So thickness of our blinding is 0.10 and click OK. So what of formwork to side of column base formwork? So I will double click on this too and rename it formwork to sides of concrete column is type 1. So number of column bases we assume to be 7 numbers, and the thickness is 0.40. So 0.40. I will click OK. So what of reinforcement? We are left with reinforcement details for this column base type 1. So as we can see, they use Y16 for this column base. They use Y16. So I will double click on this reinforcement to column. You can only see all these sub items while on take-off summary. If we are on this page bookmark, you won't see all the sub items. So if you want to fill all the sub items, you have to click take-off summary to fill all this and make changes according to given parameters. So as I was saying, reinforcement to column base, we click on this column base and we name it. We use Y16, so Y16 to column base type 1. So they use top and bottom. No, it's not top and bottom. It is not top and bottom, it's click 1. This top and bottom, you click on these two, but it's not top and bottom bar, it's just 1. So number of bases we assume to be 7 numbers. So diameter is 16, the weight of Y16 is 1.57. So spacing is 150. They use 150 spacing, it is 0.15. So side A, 1.5, 1.5. Side B is also 1.5. So vertical bend, this bend. So if the total thickness of our concrete base is 400, so this bend cannot be less than, let me say 300 or 350. So the bend is 0.35. And the number of sides we have in 2 sides. So click 2 to cover. Let us assume our cover is 0.02, 0.025. So side, number of sides to be 2. Since we've considered all the parameters, so having considered all this, we click on OK and just click on it like this. So all the quantities for reinforcement for this have been generated as well. So if you want to fill all this, click on estimating. Maybe if you want to export to Excel for easy transportation to or importation to your bill of quantities, you click on this estimating. Don't forget to click on this plus sign to display all these sub items. So you can just click on this export to Excel. All this is going to be exported to Excel for your use. So I go back to home. So having considered this one too, so we are left with reinforcement to column starters. So we go back to page 6 bookmark, reinforcement to column starter. So let me use this one. This is our column starter. This is reinforcement to our column starter. So I will click on this. Okay. So I will click on this reinforcement to column starter. So they use Y16 to column starter. So number of reinforcement is 4. So number of column we assume to be 10 number. So what's the length? So first of all, before you begin, you click on this. So let me cancel. We have to know the height, the length of this iron. So I will click on this dimension to know the overall length and the bend too. So drop the 2. So you can now click on the 2. So Y16 to column that. So this column that. So Y16 number of reinforcements, we say it should be 4 for Y16. Number of columns, let's assume there are 10 numbers. So the length, we have the length as we scale is 1.83, and the bend is 0.27. 0.27. Click OK. So that's it like this. Like this. So drop the two. So the quantities has been generated. So this is the quantity 22.7. So out of ring. So I'll click on this also. So why 8 being for column data, columns data. So number of cover is 2, number of side A, that's 2, number of column we have presumed to be 10 numbers, number of side B 2, side A 0.23, side B 0.23, so cover it as 0.025. So the spacing is, what is the spacing? The spacing is 175. So 0.175. So what's the length of our reinforcement starter is 1.83. 1.83. That's our hook is 0.15. So the diameter is 8. So the weight of our is 0.394. I click OK. So click drop. So the quantities for that has already been generated to be 36.1 kg. So having done this one, we go back to this summary. So the next item is going to be under raft foundation to consider our ground beam or beam. So these are first floor beam. So I will click on this perhaps. I will close this strip. I'm done with what I need to explain on that strip foundation. So I will click on this raft foundation. So I will look for, so ground beam. Is this ground beam? Let me check whether it is ground beam. Okay, this roof beam. Okay, let me use this first floor beam as an example for the purpose of this tutorial. So these are first floor slab and beam details. So this is the panels for first floor beams. As we can see this section, the size of the beam is 450 by 230. 450 by 230. So before you begin your measurements, the concrete, the 450 is inclusive of the 150 mm thick of first floor slab. So you have to deduct 150 from 450. Deduct 150 from 450 to know the actual thickness of beam. So we got 300. So before you begin your measurement for any beam, you have to look at the reinforcement details. For here, we have two Y16 at the top and two Y16 at the bottom. Let me check the second. So same thing, two Y16 at the top and two Y16 at the bottom. So what of this one? Two Y16 at the top, two Y16 at the bottom. Same as this one. Same as this one too. So you have to know our lapping. So the size for lapping is 800, that is 0.8. So 0.8, 0.8. So I will click on this. So let's assume is a ground floor beam. So I will click on this concrete ground beam. So it requires me to scale. I'll click on this and choose any of these dimensions. So let me choose 3.75. So I will scale this. So 3.75. So I say concrete and beam. So the thickness, that is the height, as we seen earlier, is 450. But that 450 is inclusive of thickness of a slab. So we have to deduct the thickness of the slab from that 450. So we are left with 0.30, and the width is 0.23. So I'll click OK. So the measurements start from here, like this. Like this. So I'm measuring everything together because they have the same reinforcement details. We have the same reinforcement details. So click like this. So since we've considered all the beams on this page, consider all the beams on this page. So I will click on, I will drop the tool. So what of the, so let us check the quantities here. So this is the quantity 4 cubic meter. So what of the next page, other pages? So we still have second page. So if you want to continue your measurement from this first page to second page, so you click on this second page to continue your measurement and click on this take-off summary. So, and click on this to continue the measurement. Provided that, so it requires me to scale. So, requires me to scale. So let me scale this page, 3.23. So having scaled that, I click on concrete ground beam. Do you understand? Let me come all over again. So this is the concrete we already calculated on this beam. But this beam details extends to next page. The next page is 5. This is the next page. So instead of you to click on this ground beam again and start taking off for this one. So instead of doing that, you can simply, having clicked on this next page, you can simply click on this take-off summary to continue the measurement. I click on this concrete ground beam, provided that the reinforcement details for the first page is the same thing as this one, because that one is 2Y16 at the top and 2Y16 at the bottom. Same thing as this one on this page. So I will continue the measurement. So I decided to do that because I don't want my content to be scattered. So So as you can see here now, this one is different. We have 2y20 at the top and 2y16 at the bottom. That means I cannot join this one with this one because of difference in reinforcement details. So I will drop the two and delete this one because it's not part of this. So this one is different. Reinforcement details of this one is different. I cannot join this one with this one. Hope you are getting me. Okay. So let me look at the one that's familiar. It seems this one is the same thing. We have two Y's at the top, two Y's at the top, bottom. So I will click on this and continue my measurement for this one, but as same reinforcement details. So what of this one? Okay. Okay. So this one also is different. I will drop the two. So I will click on this template again, concrete ground beam, to tick off for the remaining ground beam that's yet to be taken off for because of difference in its reinforcement details. So I will click on this ground beam to rename it concrete ground beam. Let me name it 2 because this is the first one. So the thickness, as I said, is 0.30. The width is 0.23. So I will click OK. This also consider everything. So I will click OK. I click OK. So having done this, I go back to so I will go back to pages to click on this and go back to take-off summary. So the reinforcement details is Y16 for this one. Let me expand it for you. So do we have straight bar on this? The first one is straight bar. Do we have straight bar? What do I mean by straight bar? There used to be reinforcement by the sides of this link. Those ones, they are named to be straight bar, but there's no straight bar on this one. So there's no need to consider this straight bar. So the next one is reinforcement to beam top bar. So top bar. So you have top bar to be Y16. So I will double click on this and rename it to be Y16 top bars to concrete beams. So the diameter is 16, the weight is this. So number of bend, we have bend here, we have bend on the other side, and the height of our ground beam of the beam is 450. So number of bend, we have we have two, but the number of reinforcement on the to be our top bars, they are two. That is, the number of bend is going to be 4. What do I mean? One bar has 2 bend. That means 2 bars is going to have 4 bend. So we have 4. So number of bend bar, we have 2. So bend, all the bend. So let us know our bend is 0.35. Do we have extra legs? We don't have any extra legs. So we ignore this. Number of flap. Do we have flap? We have flapping. We have one flapping for the top. So we have one lapping at the top. Number of lapping. So number of lapping is going to be the number of our reinforcement. We have two number of reinforcement to be our top bars. So we have two. So lapping is 0.80. Number of side cover 2 over 0.23. Okay. So the quantities for Y16 top bars have been generated out of top bottom bar. So I will click on this. So I'm renaming it to be Y16 reinforcement bottom bar. So diameter is Y16, bar width something. So number of bend we have it to be 4. Number of bend bar we have to be 2 number of bar. So bend, let us assume bend is 0.35. We don't have extra length. So number of lap, we have 1 lapping. So 1 lapping in 2 places of our bar. So it's going to be 2. So what's the length of our lap? Of this lap is 1.85. So 1.85. So number of side cover to be 2. And our cover is 0.025. Click OK. What of link? I will double click on this. So our link Y10 link to beam. So our link, this is our link Y10. Diameter 10. Now width. So spacing is 300. Number of side B, we have 2. Side A 2. Side B 0.45. 0.45. Side A 230. 0.23. 0.23. Let us assume our output is 0.15 over. So 2. Click OK. So contour link has been generated as well. So also one side of ground beam has been generated too. So what of the second option? The second reinforcement for this one, because this one is different from the previous one because we have Y20 to be the top bar and Y16 to be the bottom bar. So in this case, we have to take off differently. That's why I took it off. I took off for this one separately. So I will go to take off summary. So do you have straight bar? We don't have straight bar. So leave that one. So conforming to beam top bar. So we have top bar to be Y20. So I will double click on this. So Y20 top bar for concrete for beams. So let me look at the details. So diameter is Y20, bar weight of Y20 is 2.487. Number of bend, we have 2. Number of bend, sorry, 4. Number of bend bar, 2 at the top. Bend, let us assume bend is 0.35. We don't have any extra net, so we ignore that number of lap. There's no lapping. We ignore that. So number of side cover, 2. Our cover 0.25. Okay, so we are done with that. What of bottom bar? I will double click on this. And so our bottom bar is Y16. It's Y16, Y top bar is Y20. So I will click on this Y16 bottom bar. So click on Y16 bar width. 1.57. Number of bend is 4. Number of bend is 4 because we have two reinforcement at the bottom and one reinforcement has two bend. So 3 times 2 making 4. So number of bend bar, we have two number of bar. Bend, let us assume our bend is 0.35. We don't have any extra net, we know that there's no lapping, there's nothing. So number of side cover 2 over 0.02. Okay. So out of link. So we double click on this white 10 link to green. So diameter of our link is white 10 bar width. So space is 300. Number of side B, we have two sides. Side B 0.45, side A 0.23. So let's assume our O is 0.15 over 0.2. Number of cover 2. Click OK. So all this has been generated. If you want to fill all what we have been taking off for so far, just click on this estimating. It's going to display everything. It's going to display everything. So these are the quantities we've taken off. So we've taken off for so far. So we go back to one. So what's the next item to consider? I think these are the most challenging area. People have been complaining about ground beam reinforcement. So justice has been done to it, as I explained. If reinforcements, why if reinforcement details of ground beam are different from one another, so you have to group them. Each one has same reinforcement details. On that one we go together, and the ones that have different reinforcement details go together as well. So having considered all this, so let's move to superstructure. Let's move to superstructure. So superstructure. So superstructure. Sorry, before I move to superstructure, let me consider staircase. Staircase as well. Okay, this is our staircase. So before you begin taking off for your staircase, you have to scale. So let's scale this page by clicking on either dimension or scale. I'll click OK. Yes, I mean. So this one is 2.03. 2.03. I will click OK. Click like this. So first of all, let me know the total length of my waist. So you have to dimension there. Our waist 2.65. So what's the length of a slab landing? I mean, so the width of a landing is 0.91 by the width is 1.81. So the width of a staircase. So these are the things you have to do before you begin to measure for staircase. So the width of a staircase is 0.80. So which one again? What test again? So I'll click. So and I will click on staircase. So concrete staircase. I will click on this. So concrete staircase. So first of all, the floor number. What's the number of floor we are working on? So according to this building is a 3-floor building. It's a 3-floor building. We have ground floor, 4th floor, and 2nd floor. 3 floors building. So number of floor is 3. So what's the length of our landing? As it is played here. Sorry. I've made the length of landing shouldn't be, so it should be separated. So the length of our landing should be from here. So this is the first flight, this one, and the weight is, so let me go back. So concrete staircase. So as I said earlier, that tutorial number 4 is still weight. So length of a landing is 0.83. 0.83. So what of the width? 0.91. 0.91. So landing thickness usually 0.15. So having filled this, there's still other information to be considered. So we are under general now. So we click on this waste to fill the details. Okay, so click on staircase, concrete staircase. So number of floors, say 3 numbers. So length of a landing 0.83. The width 0.91. So the thickness, it has only 0.15. So having filled all this one, so we click on this next plate, waist. So waist length, the length of our waist is 2.65. So 2.65. So the waist width, the width of our waist is going to be the length of our step, 0.80. Waist thickness, let's assume, is 0.15. So second one, third one is step and riser. Click on this. So step number, what's the number of step? Let's count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 number. So what's the size of our step? Step, let's assume 0.30. Step length. The length of our step is going to be the length of our step, which is 0.80. What's the number of our riser? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So riser is 9 number. So our riser, let us assume, is 0.15. So having filled all this, we click OK. We just do single click and drop the two. So the concrete has been generated to be 1.7 cubic meter. So to see the sub items under this concrete staircase, we click on this take-off summary. So these are the details. All other details have been generated. From what to solid of a landing has been generated. From to the edges of landing. From to surface of staircase. From to edges of stair waist. Stair waist is this. From to risers has been generated. Remaining reinforcement to concrete staircase. So as I said earlier, anything horizontal work, be it slab, landing. So there's no shortcuts in doing the reinforcement. There's no shortcuts in doing the reinforcement for any horizontal work like this. So what you are going to do is, I just created a simple way of doing it. I click on this reinforcement details. So I've clicked on it. So we just take it one by one as it's been detailed here. So I have Y12 to be 6. Y12 to be 6. What's the Y12? So this is the Y12. Click like this. So you take it one by one. There's no shortcut in doing this. So having considered staircase as well, so let's go back to superstructure. I mean, finishes, block wall, and others. So, architecture. So this is the plan we are going to work on under this section. So first of all, let me get the what's the height of this building. Let's know the height of the building. Height of the building. So ground floor, we are going to consider ground floor. So from here to here, so it's 2.85 plus 300. 2850 plus 300 is 3 meters actually. So 3 meters, the height of our building. So you are going to consider this. So if you look at this plan practically, we have two types of block wall. We have 225, we have 150, we have 150 to external block wall, we have 225 external block wall, we have 225 internal block wall, we have 150 internal block wall. So for this now, I'll click on Superstructure under this template. Click on Finishes. Click on this Masonry and Planstry. So I will click on this external block wall. So it asks me to scale. So I have to scale it, this page. So let me choose this 3.50, 3.50. Click OK. So I'll click on this, drop it. So I have to scale it. So our block wall, let's consider 225 mm external block wall to ground floor. So be specific in your description. Maybe you are working, you want to work on 3 floors or 4 floors. So be specific. So I'm working on ground floor now. That's why I name it to be 225 mm external block wall to ground floor. So the width of a block is 0.23. So wall height is 3 meters. So having filled this, remember, as I said in my previous video, that whenever you want to take up for block wall, you must have book down all your openings. Your external openings must have been written down. Your internal openings must have been written down in such a way that will be easy for you whenever you want to measure for it. So I've already know all the total number of my openings, external openings. So I will click on this door and input all my external door openings. So the first one is 0.90 by 2.15, and we have it in 2 places. So the width, the next one is 0.95 by 2.15, 2.15, and we have it in 4 places. So the third window door is 0.90. Sorry, we only have 2 doors on the external wall. So having considered this door, I will click on window 2. There's window on an external wall. So window, we have, but mind you, all the openings you are going to consider for, because I know now I'm measuring for 225 block wall, and we have 225 block wall externally and 150 block wall externally. So I'm considering all the openings along the 225 wall. So window, we have 0.45 by 2.1. So we have 2 number. So second opening, we have 1.23 by 1.2, and we have it in 12 places. So other openings, let me click on other openings. We have 0.93 by 2.15. We have it in one place. So having filled all these my openings to be deducted from this general, I will click on OK. Now I begin my measurements externally. So like this, so like this, do it twice. So if you consider all the external block wall, so the quantities has been generated 143.5 square meters. 143.5 square meters. So if I want to measure for this external 150 wall, so I will click on this. I will click on this orders, internal block wall order. So order block wall. I'll click on this order and click this. So I will change it to 150 external block wall. So do we have so the width is 0.15 and the wall height is 3. So door, we have door on this 150. There's no door, but we only have window. We only have window to be 0.45 by 2.1, 2.1, and we have it in two places. So there's no other thing. So I'll click on OK. So I will measure for this. I shouldn't have measured for this one. So this one is there too. So I will click, I'll drop it. So it has been generated. So out of our internal block wall, so if you want to take off for internal block wall, we click on this take off summary. Take off summary. Take off summary. So this is the internal block wall. You double click on this internal block wall. Double click on it to change the name and choose properties to display this property. So I want to consider 225 block wall internal. Internal block wall in ground block. So the width is 0.23 and the height is 3. So let's hit dot for openings. So door for this. So door 1 is 0.80 by 2.15.15. So we have it in two places. So dot 2 0.90 by 2.15. We have it in four places. Dot 3, we only have up to dot 2. So what of windows? Window 1 0.45 by 2.1. Sorry, we don't have window, sorry. No window on 25 internal wall. So what of other openings? We have other openings to be 2.15 by 2.15, and we have it in two places. Having considered all this quickly, okay, and we three and having click OK. So I will click in front of this internal block wall, ground floor. So we're tracing all the 225 internal block wall from here. So having considered all the 225 internal block wall, so I will drop the two. Drop the two. So what of internal block wall? 225 150 internal block wall. So I will click on this internal block work orders. So just like this. So 150 internal block wall on ground floor. So the width is 0.15 and the height is 3. So do we have any door opening along the 150 wall? So we have door openings to be 0.80 by 2.15, and we have in 6 places dot 2, no dot 2. So window, we have 0.45 by 2.1. We have in 2 places. So click OK. I'm going to trace all the 150 wall. So we've considered all the openings. I mean, all the 150 internal block wall. I drop the two like this. So all the quantities has been generated, as you can see from here. Use the internal block wall 225, same as plastering and window hood in case we want to profile window hood to our windows. For internal block wall, ground floor, use the internal block wall. This is external 150 block wall. This 150 internal block wall as well. Everything has been considered for this block wall. So the next thing to do to be considered is, because we've concurrently calculated for plastering and block wall. So same methods applies to paints. So let me just go to flooring. So flooring is it's not really hard, but let me just show you. Flooring to ground floor. So click OK. So you just be taking one by one like this for flooring. 40 thick cement and sand to floors. So take it one by one like this. Like that. So that's that for flooring. That's that for flooring. So you can see flooring. So ceiling board, cornice, ceiling board generally has been generated. In case I want to use POP. So what of painting? Same thing as painting. You can use the knowledge of your block wall to do painting. It's not really hard. So floor and wall tiles. So floor and wall tiles. So let me click floor tiles here. Floor tiles and bedding. Same thing as flooring. So to ground floor. So there's some cases whereby they used to specify different types of floor. Maybe here they might specify 55 ceramic tiles for living rooms, for toilets, maybe quarry tiles. So you have to separate your measurements. So let's assume I want to measure for my 55 ceramic floor tiles. So it applies to all floors except toilet floor. So I will just take or the area whereby I have similar tiles. So, or the area whereby I have similar tiles. Maybe these two floors I have similar tiles. Kitchen, I have similar floor tiles. So I will drop the two. So it has been calculated for. So, but you know, our kitchen toilet tile used to be different. So to take off for wall ties and backing to toilets, you click here, wall backing to toilets. So what the wall height? Maybe I decided to cover all my toilet walls with tiles full. If it's a full wall ties, 3 meters. So what's the opening? So we have door opening to be 0.80 by 2.15. So we have it in 6 places. Out of window 0.45 by 2.10. We have it in 6 places. 6 places. So we click OK. So all my toilets. So we have toilets here. So just trying to get wall tiles and floor tiles for toilets. So we do same for others. So I will drop the two. So it has been generated. My wall tiles to toilet to be this with my incident floor tiles also has been generated for toilet. So you know our kitchen also normally used to have wall tiles. So you can choose this wall tiles again and name it kitchen to ground floor. So that's all for tiles. But mind you, you know that wherever we apply paint, we are not going to apply tiles. Or let me say, wherever we apply tiles, wall tiles, we are not going to apply paint. So in this case, whatever you get for maybe the total quantities of your painting and that of tiles, wall tiles. You know, when we are doing our measurement, when we are doing your plastering, we are going to consider all these walls that tiles is going to be covered. So whatever you get for your quantities of wall tiles and that of painting. So we are going to deduct total quantities of your wall tiles from painting. Maybe you get, let's assume the total quantity of your water is 20 meters square and total quantity of your painting is 50. So you are going to deduct that total quantity for water from painting. Because if you don't do that, that's over measurement. So you can only do that after you have extracted your quantities to Excel. So that's that for wall tiles and flooring. So what's else again? So let me go to staircase finishes too. Staircase finishes. Staircase finishes. So staircase finishes. So I will click on this staircase. So slashing and painting staircase. So slashing and painting staircase. So I will click on concrete staircase flashing. So painting and flashing and painting, flashing and painting staircase. I say like 3 floor. So our landing length is 0.3, 0.83. The width of our landing 0.91. So landing thickness 0.15. So the waist length will be 2.65. The width of our waist is 0.8. It assume the thickness is 0.15. So what of step riser? To number our step, we call it to be 8 number. Step, let's assume 0.3. So step length of our step is 0.0. Riser number is 9 number. So riser 0.15. So click OK and just drop a click like this here and drop the two. So let us go to take-off summary to see all these sub items. So you see now, quantities for plastering and painting to staircase has been generated. Plastering and painting to subject of landing. Forward to edges. Sorry, I have to change this to plastering to edges of landing if it is applicable. Plastering and painting to subject of staircase. Plastering to risers that have been gotten. And plastering to edges of stairways has been gotten as well. So what of ties to staircase? So let us quickly look at ties to before I go. So this one, plastering and painting to staircase, this one is not applicable to plastering. So I just did this to be the model of these sub items. So just ignore this and take all these ones. So this one's not applicable, is a concrete quantities. But I use it to form basis for all other quantities under this plastering. So out of tiling to staircase. So I'll click OK. So tiling to staircase. As I said earlier, we have 3 floors. Landing length 0.83. The width of landing 0.91. The thickness of landing 0.15. For waist, this length to be 2.65. The width of our weight is 0.8. The thickness 0.15. So step riser, step we have its number, step 0.30. That's the thickness of our step length 0.80. Riser, the contains to be 9 number, width of the riser 0.15. So click OK and drop a click. You see click like this. So all the quantities for this one too have been generated. So as I said earlier, under plastering and painting and tiling, the first quantities here, it's not useful here. So just ignore this one and focus for all those of items. So cement, sandbag, and ties to stair landing. Is it cement, sandbed, and ties to edges of landing? It is required. It's optional. It's not in all cases. This is the quantity. So wherever you don't want on this quantity that I put that's not applicable to your own drawing, just right click on that and click delete. It's going to delete. So like this one now, we don't need this under this. So I just use it to form the pieces of my measurement. So I can delete this. So other or you cannot delete it to cannot delete it. Because if you delete it, all that sub item is going to be deleted. So you have to leave it and ignore it when you export it to Excel. When you export it to Excel. So let me come again on these types. The floor number. Okay. landing length 0.83, landing width of our landing 0.91, thickness 0.15, so waist length 2.64, width 0.30, thickness of our width 0.15. So step rather we counted step to be 8. So the thickness of our step is 0.3, and then the size and the step length equal to width for landing riser counted to be 9 plus 0.15 meters. Okay, and just drop single click here like this and click on digital record. So all these quantities has been generated. Finish this classroom and all what you want on sticky has been generated. Even sketching has been generated. So everything has been generated on that staircase. So this sketches so stair price and landing, everything has been generated. So what's the next item? So roof. You have to consider roof. Our roof. So let me go to roof. Let me go to roof. So our roof. It's a roof. Trying to look for a roof plan. No, we have this roof to be in two places. One is on 10th floor, while one is on the this is it. Sorry, one roof is on fourth floor, while the other one is on second floor like this. So on second floor. So what do we need on this? So we need the length of a rafter. So that is if you are taking off, so you have to group your in this case, according to this drawing, you have to group your roof measurement into two. You have one to be this one and the other one to be this one. So whenever you want to take off for this roof, based on this drawing, so you can name this one roof A and this one roof B. So let me consider on this roof A. So let me scale. So 4.38. Click OK. So I want to know the length, my rafter, my king post. So let me write it down. My rafter is 12.99, while my king post is 1.31. So 1.31. So if you check the details, the spacing of pole line 900 mm, spacing of rafter and others 120 1.2 meters, and noggins to be 0.6. So I will go back to roof plan. So no, I'm considering this only this roof type A. This is the second roof. So you can consider them separately. So I'm considering this one. So let me scale this one too to know the length. So 5.07. So let me scale to know the length of this roof. So I've known this, all what I need to know. So I will write it down. The length is 6 meter roof length, while the width is 12.96. Just 12.96. I will go back to this section. So I will go to roof. Under superstructure, click on this roofing, click on this king post. So king post, what's the roof length? As size scale is 60 meters. So center to center is 1.20. Okay. So height of my king post. So drop it to. So to see all the sub items, you click on this take-off summary. So all the other sub items have been generated. So type B, I double click. So roof width. What's the width of our roof? As I mentioned earlier, is 12.95. Click OK. After, number of 4, it falls on one side. So number of 4 is 1. It falls on one side. Number of 4 is 1. So what's the length of our rafter? Is 12.99. Click OK. So what of pole line? Center to center of pole line is 0.9. Click OK. So all other quantities has been generated. So remaining roof trusses, I'll click on this and be taken one by one like this. So having considered it, drop it. So all the quantities of our roof story has been generated. So don't mind it. I've programmed it in such a way that you consider all other trusses. So that's all for this one. So if you want to consider for this one too, you just click on this and name it roof type B. So the one I took for is for this one. So you can consider this one too. So that's that for roof, I believe. Okay. So what of wall plate? Wall plate is not nothing hard on workplace. Just take the internal and external wall dimension, and roof fascia too is not that hard. Just know the perimeter of your roof. And what of internal noggins? So internal noggins, you have to know the total for internal noggins. Building length, there is roof length is 16 meters. So building width is 12.96. So the total quantity of our internal block wall we calculated for, let's assume the total quantity of internal block wall we calculated for is 124 meters. And the width of our block, we have internal block wall to be 150 and 225. Just find the average of the width of 150 and 225. So let's assume it's 0.22. So spacing of our noggin is 600. So just click OK and just drop a single click here. So our logins quantity has been generated as well. Hope we all understand. I've covered everything concerning this template. So this template it has been updated and is going to be shared to those who already have their own. It's going to be shared to them. It's going to be given to them free of charge because they've already purchased the previous version, and this one is going to be sent to them. So I believe you all understand and have covered most. Okay, remaining lintel, don't let me forget remaining lintel. Okay, let me consider the lintel too. So lintel, so let me off this color so that I will not be confused. Let me off this bulb. I will be able to see well. So lintel, so concrete lintel, click OK. So we have our lintel is going to be different because we have 225 wall and 150 wall. So I will consider the 225 lintels first. So concrete lintel in ground floor. In ground floor. For extension, let's assume extension of our lintel is 0.45. So the thickness 0.23 and the width 0.23. So I will click OK. So all this, my opening, I'll be tracing it one by one like this on 225 wall on my openings. So on my openings, so like that. So I will stop here and click on take off summary to see sub items under this concrete. So formwork has been generated. What of reinforcement to link? So let's assume they use Y12 reinforcement to link. So what is the diameter of Y12? So number of reinforcements used to be 4 and diameter 12, width of Y 0.88. Click OK. So what of style? Y10. Y10 link to lintel ground floor. So click here, click 10. You wait over 0 on so spacing that as well as 50. Number of cover to be 2. Cover 0.025. Side number, we have 4 sides of link. So side A 0.23, 0.23, nothing, that is hook 0.15. So that's that. No, this one is considered to be for 225 wall. So we want to consider for all these openings for lintels on 150 mm wall. So we once again click on this lintel. So for 150 mm wall ground floor. So we do the same extension. So extension in this case is going to be 300, 0.30, and the thickness in this case is going to be 0.15, the width 0.15 as well. Click OK, and look for all the openings alongside the 150 mm wall. So do the same 50 mm wall of this. So like that, I dropped it after enough. So this is it. So reinforcement to reach Y16, Y12, I mean, to lintel ground floor. So you do the same as I did for 125 mm lintel. So like that, top link. So Y10 link to lintel ground floor. So and then we therefore so spacing is going to be 250. So for us, number of side area 4, side A 0.15, side B 0.15. So lapping, let us assume our lapping is 1.5, 0.15. So that's for lintel. That's for lintel. I believe I've done justice to all this. So as I said earlier, the template is going to be sent to those who have their own already. So it has been updated, so it's going to be sent to them. So whoever that's still interested in this template can chat me up to have their own. Thank you for watching.